And I'm Eden, and I'm also a preacher's daughter.
And this is Gay Girls, Good God.
Christian content from a queer perspective.
We are dressed in once again our Sunday best.
Mama, it's Easter Sunday as far as I'm concerned.
You were giving very Easter.
See, I love blue and white floral, like the China teacup of it all. Mm-hmm. I'm obsessed. You know, yes. I love that shit. I have like this dress. I have like a maxi dress in it. I want more. I have another mini dress. I am. Pink and white? No. Frank Ocean, choke on a dick. Blue and white. That's what it's all about, baby. Whereas I feel like you're like mauve and black. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what made you say that?
What gave it away? You are dressed very... You say that every time you wear this top, you look like the Joker, but I don't get that.
I don't know. Maybe I just like understand the Joker.
You're just different. Like Joker pill. Like you're a lot like Joker.
Okay.
From the movie Joker.
So whenever the Joker, this is such a weird fact about me. When the Joker movie came out,
yeah.
I had plans to see it with my dad.
I'm so sorry.
This was me and my dad. This was before I realized.
Before you realized.
Before I had some realizations.
Before you realized.
Yeah, so I had planned to go see my dad on opening day. And then this group of friends that I had just made at college was like, hey, we're going to see the Joker on opening day. Do you want to go? And I was like, what time are you going? And they were going earlier in the day. I was like, absolutely. So on opening day, I saw the Joker back to back. Do you know what that did to me?
Do you know what that does to the human psyche? Seeing Joaquin Phoenix twice in one day.
Joaquin Phoenix shoot Robert De Niro in the...
What? Oh, he did shoot him in the back. I forgot about that part. That suddenly hit me like a bus.
Yeah, the ending, it was just like...
Get what you fucking deserve. Oh, I said, oh.
Insane.
Also, I love...
The new movie with Lady Gaga. Sorry,
bitch. The Joker, that's you. Joker 2, that's me. Yeah. I'm so ready. It's a musical, bitch. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Joker. The first Joker's butch lesbian. Second Joker's manic pixie
All
dream
I
girl.
can think about is that fucking clip that leaked of Lady Gaga on set, like going down the stairs and then turning around and running up and kissing that random woman in the crowd. And I'm like, why?
Was that in October of this year, I think? I'm so excited.
Okay, I'm obviously a Harley Quinn girl. Love Harley Quinn. Yeah. Love the series on Max. Like, just obsessed, and not in the way that the other girls are. I'm like different. It's like you guys don't get it. When this movie drops, I'm going to become new levels of transsexually insufferable, and it's going to be all of y'all's problem.
Did you watch that Batman TV show that was like?
The answer is yes, no matter which one it is.
Okay, where the animated one that was, it was sort of What's New Scooby-Doo-ish. Where it was just kind of like it was I don't know, it was like very Warner Brothers.
Which one?
I don't remember. It came out in like late 2000s, early 2010s.
Was it set like in the future?
No.
Well.
Like it was sort of like a flavor of the week kind of thing, where it's just him fighting, the same, like a different villain every week, and then later on,
Yeah. Was it kind of like with the stylized?
His best friend was the cop, and he was hiding.
Gordon.
No? Another guy. We're gonna have to move on.
You
from
know
Batman.
the TV show where you like. Okay.
We were a Batman Spider-Man household.
I was a Spider-Man kid. There's a picture of me from my 3rd birthday in a full Spider-Man costume opening my present.
Oh, I love that photo
of
you, by the way.
Which is Spider-Man sheets, and I'm like, yeah.
I was a Spider-Man girl, and my brother was a Batman boy, and my dad was also like kind of both. And my dad used to play the guitar and like sing like little like skits, and me and my brother would act them out, and one of them would be like, and Spider-Man dropped his books, and she helped him, and he said thanks, and she said you're welcome, and then little 4-year-old me would go, you dropped your books. Here you go. My brother would say thank you. We just performed.
My dad was like, okay, wrap your fists in duct tape. Now I'm going to teach you how to box.
Like we're dancing in our living room.
He's like, ding, 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 ding.
Spider-Man dancing in the living room.
And us like running through the woods being chased by wild hogs, like leaping from tree to tree, shooting, like
It's very, very indicative.
I love that. The Orwells and the
Yeah.
So, Kale.
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
This week, who are you praying for?
Well, sort of on the topic of the theatrics, as we just talked about, I am praying for anyone who used to be in What I was in was show choir, but this also counts for theater, speech and debate, anything where you got to be a performer, wherever that might be. And after you kind of get out of school, unless you're like in a city that has like a really like flourishing, that sort of like college or high school level tier theater or choir program, you just don't really want it because you've already been a part of something that was so great, and you're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And so, the shawties who miss performing.
I get it.
Yeah.
I was involved heavily in theater in high school, if you couldn't tell. And that really helped me like find a creative outlet that was like in what I would later learn was queer in a way that I never had before. And it was so important to me. And like, it was so important to me. But then going to college, and the only thing I had that was an approximate of that was speech and debate. And then I did that, but then I had to leave because it was just a really transphobic environment after I came out. And so ever since then, it's just been like, I've got nothing. There's no stage. There's no like whatever. And it's such a weird thing not to hence this, honestly.
Honestly, yeah.
Honestly, y'all are suffering because of our...
because of our like
our
desire.
deficiency. Yeah.
Yeah.
Suffering because of desire. Buddhism.
So classic. So, Sister Eden, who are you praying for?
I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I am praying for Taylor Swift's downfall.
Say it again.
You know what? I am praying on Taylor Swift's downfall.
But not for the reasons you think.
No. Oh, you hate Taylor
Oh,
Swift?
you hate women?
So you hate women.
So you hate women.
So you hate women. If
No,
you don't like
actually,
Taylor Swift...
I hate Taylor Swift in a much more intellectual way than you do.
If you don't... If you... Me and the dudes with Oakley sunglasses profile pictures like, Taylor Swift!
She only won the Grammy because she's dating Travis Kelce. First of all, no.
First of all, no. Second of all, didn't deserve it anyway.
Didn't deserve it, but that's not why she got it.
I am just like, whatever. She's just some random white woman. I don't think she's especially evil or a terrible person.
I don't think...
like Twitter
no.
tries to make her out to be. And I don't think like she has any kind of maliciousness in her heart.
No.
I just think that she is a insanely rich, insanely
Capitalist
famous
Barbie.
capitalist Barbie, and I am so tired of being inundated with Taylor Swift content every day, all day. I cannot get on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, anything without seeing every part of Taylor Swift's life blasted in my face. And I'm so tired.
I don't care if you like her music.
Like, please, I don't care. Like, please,
But just don't post everything.
don't post everything. Continue listening to it. Continue calling it poetry if you really want to.
Yeah.
Just stop.
Hey, folklore? Just kidding.
I'll kill myself in front of you. But just stop reposting. Stop. I muted so many words on Twitter to try and get rid of it,
like,
but it didn't work.
The thing is, like, I used to like really like, I was indifferent about her as a person, but I liked her music. But then just after just her being so oversaturated and her being everywhere, it's almost like they're doing, it's almost so forcefully shoving it at you.
Which, like, the girls and the gays are our main audience, so I know a lot of y'all listen to Taylor Swift. I don't want to alienate you.
No,
Hobo Johnson does not want to alienate his fan base.
Some of my best friends are Swifties.
I don't hate Swifties. Some of my best friends are Swifties. Shout out to Charlie and Grayson. But I need y'all to keep it in the bedroom. Stop shoving it in our face. Respectfully. I am also a former Swiftie. Well, not Swiftie. I used to love Taylor Swift's music when I was a kid. Yeah. But then I kind of outgrew it, which is, and it's okay if you still like it. I don't think it's necessarily...
I listened to her most recent album. I didn't listen to any of the Taylor's versions. I don't know. I might listen to her next one. It depends.
Here's what it is. I don't have anything against Taylor Swift. I think I resent the fact that to so many people out there, that is the pinnacle of music.
Yes.
And I'm like, to me, not to be like fascist and like there is one ideal of art that's mine, that's right. But it's like, to me, the fact that everyone thinks her songwriting, her lyricism, her music, her vocals are like the best that can be, it just breaks my heart a little bit. I'm like, honey, please take my hand. Let me show you something better.
But the thing is, hi, Ben. And Taylor Swift herself even like tries to, in certain ways, push people in other directions. But I don't know. Like she brought Lana on stage.
Her bringing
much better, but
her bringing the disheveled, like cobweb-ridden corpse of Mr. Burns on stage to be like, and this bitch, she laid the groundwork for me to trample all over her. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shout out. Snow
Everything
on the beach.
I am. she's the reason,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have as many Grammys as I. She doesn't have any.
She doesn't have anything.
Damn. But yeah, we may have gotten ourselves into some, as they said in episode 1, Yusa in deep doo-doo this time.
You said in deep doo-doo this time.
Is that what
Yes.
the...
You said deep doo-doo this time.
Phantom Menace.
We are Star Wars girls, first and foremost.
First and foremost.
Then Lord of the Rings chicks.
The first movie I remember seeing was episode 2 of Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is the best of the prequels, I would argue.
Absolutely.
That's the one that I rewatched over and over.
Me too. And everyone else
And it's
that
so
I ever
hot.
talked to, people said was that they didn't like it. I'm like, y'all don't understand romance.
Y'all don't understand romance. Y'all don't understand the drama
Them
of
rolling in
discovering
a field.
the clones. The clones showing up, bitch. All the Jedi Mace Windu. Bzz. 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 Period. Obsessed.
And then the battle
Yoda
of
and Count Dooku. Ah.
The Battle of Geonosis at the end.
Yes, exactly.
With like in the arena.
The droids
Yeah.
coming out. Okay, when Padme Amidala had her titties
Oh
out and her
my-
belly slashed open,
The way that
jumping
I
down
just
from the
fantasize
A-play attacking
when
her,
I'm playing with my little action figures,
Mama,
envisioning
literally
her
seeing her as a
boobies.
kid and being like,
I'm
bitch,
sorry,
bitch,
sorry,
something-
Natalie Portman.
something. No, not sorry, Natalie
No,
Portman.
Boo, Natalie Portman.
What? We don't like
Oh.
Natalie Portman?
She is pro-Israel. I hate this.
Oh, don't tell me this!
I know.
Don't tell me this on the pod today. No, I can never watch Black Swan again. But I will.
But you will.
And I'll jerk
Mila
off to it.
Kunis
No, wait,
also.
Mila Kunis. Oh, no. Well, damn, I'm praying for
That's
me.
a great jumping point, kind of,
Okay.
to our topic today.
Go for it.
And we're going to be talking about homoerotic friendships in the Christian community growing up, as a queer kid who didn't know it yet, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So Eden, what in your words, what does the word homoerotic friendship mean?
In my mind, it conjures to mind the friendships that people have either before they've realized they're gay or when they aren't, like, able to interact with the idea of queerness openly. Right. So instead they have friendships with people of the same sex that are unusually intense and colored by a like romantic desire almost that they can't
yearning maybe.
Yeah, yearning, sapphic yearning.
Yeah, for sure. And the dictionary definition of it is more or less, I'm paraphrasing a definition.
According to Merriam-Webster, kinda.
It is a sexual desire or sexual longing for something that is never consummated.
Period.
So it's all of the yearning.
I always fucked mine. No.
Yeah. All of the yearning without the fucking.
That sounds like that sounds like a commercial for like diet dating. all of the yearning without the fucking. 0%
Christian
fucking.
mingle.
Christian mingle. All of the yearning without the. Put it on a billboard, bitch. now with 100% less fucking. 50% more yearning.
0% fucking guarantee.
Continue.
So, yeah, exactly as you said, what I want to talk about today, because this is Gay Girls, Good God, of course.
Good God.
The way that you and I individually experienced, and maybe start talking about it broader, homoerotic friendships as, like, people growing up in the church specifically.
Yes, in the church specifically.
This is going to be very Christine by Lucy Dacus coded episode.
Don't even get me started. Shut the fuck up.
So if you've never heard that song, pause. I'm just kidding. At some point, go listen to that song.
I had someone they asked me to make a playlist for them, one of my besties, and they texted me. I put Triple Dog Dare by Lucy Dacus on it, and they texted me randomly. They were like, "Fuck you." I was like, "What?" And they were like, "I just got to Triple Dog Dare." I was like, Hey.
As I like to say when something like that happens, now we get to share the burden.
Now we get to share the pain. I'm also, whenever someone's like, "Oh, that's awful," I'm like, I'm glad that you understand why I'm glad that you understand how terrible this is.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're both on the same page, that I'm the victim.
Oh my God. Period.
But
You have kicked puppy BPD. I have evil dog BPD. You know what I mean? I'm a bad dog. You're a kicked puppy.
No, but I'm not a kicked puppy. I'm an evil dog pretending to be a kicked puppy, pretending to be an evil dog, pretending to be a kicked puppy.
See, I don't contain multitudes. I'm pretty two-dimensional.
Historically.
Flat Lake Airport.
Historically a Flat Lake Airport.
I'm sorry, I keep on derailing this conversation. We got to talk about homoerotic friendships.
Oh, okay. So before we get into like my experience, I want to ask you, as a former undercover spy in the USSR,
I don't know what you're talking about.
As someone who most likely saw the way that males interact with each other more than I do, how would you say that men sort of like engage in homoerotic friendships?
Yeah, so I think that there's a way to discuss this like outside of Christianity more in general, and then specifically within the church.
I want to talk about specifically the church, but you can talk about both.
Well,
briefly.
As someone who grew up being perceived as a male when I was a child, I will say there's a huge difference between the way men and boys act when it's just men and boys in the room versus women.
Right.
And women, I know that is an existential, like a terrifying thing to think of, and it terrifies me now because I'm not really perceived strictly as a man, so I don't get to see it anymore either. Mm-hmm. But men can be completely different people when there aren't women around.
Right.
So you do not get to see a lot of what like male sociality looks like.
A bunch of girls everywhere's like, you mean my all-guy friend group they're not really like that when I'm not around?
Yeah, none of them want to fuck me. We're just besties. Girl. So a lot of how I think homoerotic friendships or whatever manifest, whether you want to talk about specifically like instance of them or just the general like occurrence of homoeroticism in male spaces, specifically in the church, is that men who are either touch starved because they don't have like a wife or a partner quite yet, or young boys who are being, I think repression is the word of the day, are being so deeply sexual oppressed, are finding, you can see like any possible fucking socially acceptable outlet to touch other men,
right,
to like have deep conversations without actually admitting that they have any emotions or experiences. With men, I think there is actually way more repression and subtlety when it comes to these homoerotic friendships, because with women there's at least emotional honesty a lot more of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas with men are not even supposed to admit the fact that they want friends or need friends, you know?
Yeah.
So the way that crops up, I think a lot is, what's that quote? It's like you invent like these elaborate rituals to touch each other or whatever.
Football!
Yeah, like fighting, things like that.
Yeah.
But also like what men will call like fellowship. And there's like a lot of gender differences in spaces like
the men's fellowship,
males Bible
the men's
studies,
crawfish boil,
men's fellowship, like
we had a men's kayaking trip, a men's camping trip.
And I will say there are always either young boys or older people who like pair up and are very close. I don't want to stigmatize friendships between men because Lord knows that is stigmatized enough, but sometimes you can clock them. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, girl, this is not platonic giggling in the Sunday service.
Yeah, I caught that so much because there'd be a lot of people who like felt that way about like our fathers because they were the pastors, and because since they were like they had the power in a sense, like they were the ones who were like above everyone else, like wanting to have that closeness to them is just kind of like, what do you do? Like, being someone watching this happen, someone like treat my dad in this like sort of like glorifying, almost like romantic kind of way. It's just kind of like, what are you doing?
I think that's an interesting point to bring up because a lot of what I think homoerotic friendship or homoeroticism is between two people who are supposed to have a platonic relationship is a confusion of repressed feelings. Mm-hmm. So it's like if these deacons or whatever aren't able to admit in their ego that they're like jealous of the preacher or that they like really admire his like ability to control the room or things like that, men aren't supposed to admit that they feel lesser than in any way, even if it's like a positive praise of someone else. So it almost gets sublimated into these like expressions of desire, like these expressions of a desire for nearness to them. You know what I mean? Like they can't have it and they can't be it, so they just want to be as close to it as possible.
Right.
And I think that comes up in a lot of different ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so yes, that's very. Thank you for sharing detox.
Thank you. Thank you.
So moving on to what I wanted to talk about, because some things that we have both experienced is the sapphic of it all, the Lucy Dacus of it all, the sapphic yearning, these emotions that we know deep down might never be validated by men. To get down to the bottom of it. to. She's writhing, folks. She's writhing.
I can't do it.
I don't know. I just think that as like women just feel so alienated growing up and feel just so like there is nowhere to belong. And then whenever you first begin, it happened for me like first whenever we got to youth group and I was suddenly like around like being divided up into like guys and girls like breakout groups, you know, and in those girls groups pure magic would happen. We would all be like, ladies, and this is not. I'm just saying this is where it started. This is the breeding ground.
You're like, for some reason, I'm just really interested in what women have to say.
Yeah, it's like me like talking to women, and be like, oh my god, that is the most intelligent thing I've heard all day.
Truly.
And then as I got older, like whenever I started to have friendships with like other women and like just being, because I wasn't someone who dated people, but I interacted with guys a lot and like I went on a few dates. We were in high school. What is this? What are dates? It's going to attract me and sitting by each other. Thoughts? I'm trying to tell a story.
I'm listening.
You're judging me. I'm coming here to feel judged.
You felt at ease with your gender and people of your same gender and you dated in high school?
No, I didn't actually.
No,
I went to the fair once. And I don't even think he knew that we got set up together. It was actually pretty sad for me. I went home and cried. If you must know.
You getting off the Ferris wheel.
This episode is becoming Eden Shame's scale for disastrous love life.
No. You and this boy going to the fair and getting on the carousel, and he gets on a carriage. He's like, all right, you get the next one. he's like,
all of his money playing these little basketball things that you never make, and me being like,
Stop, that's so embarrassing. Man, piece of advice. If you are taking someone on a date, never take them to somewhere where you are trying to show off some kind of skill or set of your personality. Just try and bring them to a neutral kind of activity or area where you can connect with them. Because if this is about you trying to show them like, this is my car, these are my athletic abilities or whatever, most likely you're just going to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
You're just going to embarrass yourself. And we're going to sit there and go,
I had a crush on that guy for 2 years and it was instantly over. And it was a beautiful moment for me.
You got the
I cried, but the next day I was like, you know what? I'm over it.
I'm free. Period.
Anyway, so when I was in high school, I began to have deeper friendships. What were you saying, dear?
When I was a young boy.
Precisely.
You started having deeper friendships.
And being able to like talk about these feelings that I was having, it started out, talking about feelings that we had about other guys. And then it would turn into feelings that we had about each other and the way that we felt like we were perceived. And suddenly you would start to say, and instantly, as people who were, as like someone who was taught that like women were, I was scared to touch women. Like
as you should be.
As I should be.
As you should be. They're covered in spines. First of all, not even to mention the poison. Be careful. I had to learn the hard way, bitch. Where do you think I got all these scars? I know I got these scars.
Touched
a woman. Teeth.
Like all the red flags start going off because you have already crossed the line. Because going back to the Panopticon, God, before you even register what that thought was, God saw it.
This is so fucking sapphic. You being like the camera zooming in and you brushing a woman's hand and like, no, I can't. No, oh, God saw. No, but you going for like 2.5 hours of a movie that ends with like a graphic sex scene. So sapphic.
The Notebook.
The Notebook, bitch.
And what's The Notebook?
I've never seen The Notebook.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like. I mean, it's a rom-com. Ryan Gosling's in it. He has a beard. So, what can you say?
What can you say, indeed, bitch? What can you say, indeed? When I slapped your thigh just there, I think I got a few spines in me. We got medic.
Yeah, we got some tweezers over there. I'll just pluck them out later.
Perfect.
So anyway, back to that. And so from a very early age, I began to become very aware of the way that I was interacting not only with like people of the same sex, not only people of, the opposite sex, as I interacted with them like in a hopefully romantic, never for me, because again, womp womp on the love life.
Womp.
Big womp womp on Kale's love life. But now I was having to deflect these other feelings with people that I still cared about very, very much.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you can expect, but then BPD comes into play sometimes.
Yeah, it does.
And it's like you want to have them in your life, but also everything in your brain is telling you this is not the kind of relationship you're supposed to have.
Yes.
And to be fair, they usually don't end well.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Bitch.
Because I can't think of one that ended well.
All too well.
All too well, honestly.
The 10-minute
real.
version, the 10-year version. Mama, and it only ended with a handbrush. What are we talking about?
It only ended with a hand brush.
But, Mama,
then, she gets engaged. That was a joke. They broke up.
Exposed. Like I said earlier, I think as someone who grew up, I guess, as a male, I will say I don't resonate with a lot of what you said, because while I am not someone who thinks that trans people are inherently and intrinsically trans from birth to whatever,
right,
I did experience a lot of what I now know as gender dysphoria as like a young child. Mm-hmm. So I never once felt like at home or more safe with like other males and men and young boys, and like the way that young boys were supposed to be raised. Part of me thinks that that's how all men feel, because that's not how humans should be raised in general, but I digress. So like, I don't know, being in those male only spaces always made me very uncomfortable. However, so I don't relate to that. However, I will say there were a lot of times that I had, especially in high school, that I had like these almost like tepid friendships with a lot of the people who like, especially a lot of the baseball players, who it's like we were never actually like really close friends, but they would run into me in a lot of occasions. Like,
I know exactly what you
bitch,
mean.
you know exactly what I mean.
As high schoolers that weren't really ever desired by people, by our peers, I know exactly what you mean.
You know exactly what I mean, because I was kind of like the like freak, but they also kind of respect. You were
like salutatorian. You were like the top tier.
Me and my bestie Sally, shout out Sally, we were kind of known as like academic freaks in high school. Mm-hmm. Like I used to be a lot smarter than I am, so that was kind of my whole gig. I was also really weird and skinny, and anyway, and I was also like clearly queer, even though I wasn't out about it and I would deny it at the time.
Just the way you stood.
Yeah, it was that. Mama, yeah, it was that. I would stand like this. It was
I would stand titties out.
Really. So like at like hanging out at people's houses for little parties or whatever, or like doing theater, because a lot of the jocks actually did theater or whatever and things like that.
I saw High School Musical of them.
Right. I would end up running into a lot of them or like spending time with them in unlikely circumstances, and a lot of times it was almost like they would come to me because like I was the one kind of bastion of queerness that they all kind of saw like and looked to, and so it would be very shameful, especially if it was like only us two, and it would always get like weirdly intimate.
You can feel can feel the electricity.
Like I'm not
that kind of like
I'm not gonna drop any names, but there was like this one guy that I like was in like a small friend group with for a few months that was crazy. That's a whole other story. But then he started calling me every single night to just talk to me about his feelings and like some things he was struggling with. And we would stay on the phone for hours every single night. Like just talking about like all the things he couldn't say to like other people and other men. He would be like, I just don't know. Like, I don't have anyone else to talk to about this. First of all, trauma. I'm not a therapist. Why was I doing that at 13 years old? Second of all, like, gay. And like, I don't know. There was also a few instances, girl, truth or dare, to all of the people who were repressed gay in high school, truth or dare was your best friend. And I know it.
I wasn't in many situations because I didn't get invited to a lot of things where like that situation come up, but every time it did, it was like
girl, it was always kiss them. It was always get mama. I never did, because I was so scared. Mm-hmm. The amount of times that a boy dared me to kiss them, crazy. And I did it. And I did. I said, ew, this is gross. Come here. Insane. Y'all gay. It's okay.
So gay.
just be gay.
Yeah.
You've showed me your cocks before. Like, let me. No.
Whenever whenever it is in a Christian setting, a lot of times I feel like it ends up being one-sided. Especially, you know, as queer people interacting with a lot of people who probably didn't end up being queer, who might still be in the church. And it just creates, like, again, this set up feeling of like shame and rejection, because first you have that rejection knowing that they will never like feel the way that you feel about them. And then but also it comes back to like you shouldn't even be feeling this in the first place, like to them, to the person that you care like so much about.
I think that raises an interesting point between like, is a one-sided yearning homoerotic friendship the same thing as a homoerotic friendship?
Oh,
because
that's
like
valid.
if it's not reciprocated, is it the same thing?
If the
It's
yearning
just
is not
yearning.
mutual, then
Yeah.
it's just yearning.
Because then it's just
It's just-
100% yearning, 0% reciprocity. 0% yes reciprocity, 0% sex, 100% yearning.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of deviates, but I still think it's like a valid thing that like a lot of like queer people experience, especially when most of your community was the church.
Yeah,
and you were developing those friendships at that kind of age.
I especially think because there are all sorts of memes and things about like when you're a kid and you just have that one like same-sex friend who you just like really want to spend all your time with, and you get weirdly jealous whenever they get a boyfriend and like, you know, things like that. It's like that is a canon event for young queer people, and especially in a church, because it's an environment of such repression and power.
There's so much shame attached to it.
So much shame that it's like you aren't even allowed to realize it and think it yourself. And then so that played on top of it, you only see them at church events, or you only like feel like you can talk about God and things with them. And girl, that is such the sapphic
Like,
fucking movie.
Driving in the car together alone, like after like a breakout, like after like going bowling or something, and just being like,
Girl, the fuck. That's sex. That is sex. Men do not understand. Mama, men would never get it. Men are like flirting. It's like, oh, I want to fuck you or whatever. Women are like, we pass gently by each other in the warm breeze of like that she left behind me in the church pew. It brushed against my hair, and they're like,
and she looked at me, she touched my knee and said, "How have you been?"
my spines, standing straight up.
Jesus
girl.
Christ! Now I can't use this hand. The spines are everywhere.
Sorry, I haven't shaved in a
Excellent.
while. Thank you. Whistle tones. Ooh.
It's okay. We share our spines.
We should. I guess I would ask you, what do you think about these homoerotic friendships? Why do you think they thrive or are like forced to be exactly that so much in church settings, in Christian settings, whereas we might see like less of that in secular like communities?
Yeah, well, it kind of comes back to like the harder you clench your fist, the more runs out, and so the more isolated you feel, and like the more things are divided, and you're being constantly showed how much different you are from men, and so you cling to these like relationships, and so it's just shame on top of isolation, and it's just Christianity is a festering ground for like feeling like not enough, and so those create dependency, and who else is that going to go to but that person?
Period. I also think that it's not just that we're saying everyone is secretly a little bit gay or whatever.
Oh, no.
I think a lot of it is that in like churches and Christian culture, like being alone with the opposite sex, not allowed. Being like spending too much time with them, like not allowed. It's weird. It's looked down on. Like opposite sex friendships that are too intense, not allowed. Like, you know, all that stuff. That is very weird. Things are very segregated by gender. And so every person, especially young people, like hormones are raging, you need an expression for these like sexual and romantic desires and feelings and urges or whatever. And if you're not allowed to even be near the opposite sex in any kind of intimate way, then a lot of times it's just going to kind of bubble up in things surrounding the same sex, you know?
Yeah.
If your only friends are men and you're only allowed to spend your time alone with men, then maybe that time your knuckles brush against each other when you hand them the axe while you're chopping wood is going to mean a whole lot more than it should.
And like even taking, at least from like the way that I view the interactions I've seen with like women's Bible study groups, maybe not always like sexual attraction. I wouldn't know because I am attracted to women, so I don't know how straight women feel. I cannot speak on behalf of straight women, but
well, I can.
but like there might not be that sexual attraction, but there are some women who their bestie from their Sunday school group knows them more intimately than their husband ever will.
And I will say, part of me we've talked about this before, and that sometimes I'm like, am I a lesbian? No, but a lot of it is because I just feel a connection and a depth of emotional like intelligence, connection, and like feeling seen from women that I have never once and don't feel I ever will experience from a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't think it's anything inherent. I am not like, I don't believe in the gender binary.
We're not alienating your fan base again.
No. Well, also, just genuinely, especially as a trans person, I don't think there's anything inherent to either gender. Because especially when I was re-socializing as, like, a woman and also taking hormones, so that might have been part of it.
Right.
Like, a lot of the way that I experienced my own emotions and connected with others changed, like, deeply. And a lot of that, I think, is because men are forced from a young age to completely annihilate their ability to be in touch with their own emotions,
right,
and also to reach across and connect with other people's. So like with women, and like thus like in a, I guess, homoerotic or just like homosocial sense, there is an intensity of connection that I feel exists on a degree that is like head and shoulders above anything you can with men.
Yeah, absolutely. A part of me is happy for them that they have that, and then also like part of me is just like sad that they're not able to have that with anyone else other than this like small community that they have. You know what I mean? The constant empathy for your mother.
Which is like, I
empathy,
also think
empathy for a mother, friend of the pod.
Empathy for your mother, plague of the pod. Which is, I think, like, even outside of the church, we see like you and I, like, I connect more deeply with you than I think I have with any man in my, like, I connect more deeply with you than I have with any man in my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just because you're a woman. No other reason. No other reason.
No other reason.
It's just like there is a tinge of depth that is added to I was almost about to say same sex, but I guess like female and female or male and male friendships that is just like fundamentally untenable in a gendered society between them. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, this kind of ended up devolving into a different conversation, but you know what?
I will take any opportunity to just talk about gender in general.
No, absolutely. I don't know. I liked where it went.
Bringing it back to a place of like actual church and Bibles, things like that, because this is Gay Girls Good God.
Gay Girls Good God,
we have to at least pretend to stick to our mission statement. Can I ask you, as someone who was a lot more like, I don't want to say comfortable, but definitely more in tune with your own like same gendered spaces, and like dysphoria wasn't really a factor in the sense of alienation.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about like specific instances of that homoeroticism manifesting in your friendships? Like, were there ever like specific times or stories or just specific people that happened?
Absolutely. I'm gonna use.
You're about to say the gayest shit ever. I know.
I'm gonna alter the story a little bit as to maintain anonymity.
This story is based on real life events. The names of characters have been changed. Any reflection of real life is totally coincidental.
My freshman year of college, I met this girl, and we were in a lot of like Bible study groups together, because this whenever I was still like really gung-ho for Christ.
I was just a hoe for Christ, honestly.
Yeah, I was.
I'm not gonna lie, like shit. Like, I was on the pole, but it was a cross. And
I was involved in like as many things I could get my hands into, and we would often go to these things together. And we had like talked about guys with each other before, but never really anything like serious. And then we started like not just going to Bible study together, but also, going eating coffee together. And when we get going eating coffee together, like we would our conversations started to get a little bit deeper. And we would hug at the end of our friend at the end.
Smelling your hair. fucking lesbian
She would touch
movie
my
of it.
knee sometimes.
The lesbian movie of it all. It's too much sapphic yearning.
Yeah, and then she ended up dating a good friend of mine, and what can you do?
I'll tell you what you can do. You can take life by the balls, and you can go back and you can say, I'm
happily married.
I love that. Yeah.
And it was just this weird thing because, like you said earlier, a lot of the main focus of our relationship like stemmed back to God.
Yeah.
You know? And so we always knew that there would never be anything, specifically at this time of my life, because I still hadn't come to terms with my sexuality yet at this point. There would never be anything more between us because, like, what do you mean? We're Christians. Like, we were different denominations, but it doesn't matter. We're Christians.
Forever fearful of the watchful eye that brought you two together.
Yeah, exactly. The Panopticon.
Mama. Y'all were cellmates.
So true.
Panopticon. I think
they have to just like make sure we're not fucking. Y'all fucking.
Are y'all finger banging in there? Yeah.
He's always watching ours just in case we do.
He's watching y'all's, but he's not telling you.
He's like
God jerking off.
We're actually gonna turn all the cameras off tonight, y'all. Like we promised.
Don't worry, do whatever you want. The guard in the Wait, no one's thought of that thought experiment. What if there was the Panopticon? However, the guard was a sick freak.
He was a sick, not consensual voyeur.
Yeah. He's like, who out flicking their bean tonight? Who want to get the spotlight OC?
And just say your cell number, not your name.
No, your name. No name. Love that.
So yeah, I think it does all directly relate to like the Panopticon though, because there was just this hyper sense of like the entire foundation is against this, and at this time we believed this truly, and we were like, oh, like he knows that we're both feeling this way, so we have to like help each other through this time.
We have to help each other resist temptation, which is so fucking gay. The push and pull between we shouldn't, but I want to.
But we can't.
That is literally and it shouldn't be, because that is a sign of repression, and that is what. However, that is the most sexually intense thing in all of human culture. You know what I mean? Every romance, every like romance novel, every like super hot sultry situation you're in is usually founded on the idea of like
enemies
it's wrong.
to lovers.
It's wrong, but it feels so right.
Yeah.
You know, which like I resent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that trains the brain to find repression like sexual, and also like when you have an open, honest, happy, communicative relationship, it's boring.
Yeah, which was BPD.
BPD girl, my nervous system isn't activated. This doesn't seem right.
This is boring.
Yeah, I think but beyond like that person who I call, like who called me every night and things like that and stuff, I also had, I don't know if I'd call it a homoerotic friendship, because it was very much like, it was almost like explicitly homosexual, but in a weird, I don't know. There was someone in high school that like, I was queer and they were queer and we were in theater together and both of us were in the closet. But then like, I had started coming out of the closet to my friends, and then one day it was just me and him, and I told him like it was no big deal, and he was like he kind of looked at me, and then he came out to me, and it was like, okay, and then we got coffee and like would talk, and like he was like, I'm just so scared. He was also a pastor's son. bitch. It was
fucking and sucking in the Wendy's parking lot.
It was so emotionally intense for me, even though like barely any, like nothing happened.
Yeah, there was no consummation.
There was no 100% yearning. It wasn't even like, we weren't even like that good of friends. We didn't even hang out that many times.
But those few delicate moments.
It was literally,
which is like, everything to a woman.
Yeah, everything to a woman. And it was especially like, because it was almost like he kept on acting like he was gonna come out, and he was like getting to it, and I came out publicly and like finally did, because I was trying to talk him up to it also, and then I came out publicly, and then everybody like knew I was the only out person in my entire county. It was like this whole big scandal, whole big deal. And then when that happened, he like dropped me and like started telling people like, oh, I was only hanging out with them because like they were gay and they didn't have any friends, so like I felt like I needed to like help them, you know. And I was like, oh my God.
But your story made me think, and I don't really think I don't think it has to do with like the term homoerotic. I think this all does like just come back to the shame that you have with these, like regardless, like any relationship any friendship that like teeters that line and has shame behind it is what we're talking about.
Yes. I also think that can, in a culture, Christian masculinity, just like hegemonic masculinity in general in the United States, is so afraid of intimacy between men. Mm-hmm. So I think it kind of creates the same idea. Like even if you are not attracted to them in any actual homosexual way, even if you have not a queer bone in your body, even if not sexual at all, there's still shame.
It's their approval.
Yeah. And there's still shame around it. So there's still repression around just like wanting to be close friends, wanting to hug them, like normal friends do, wanting to just like be open about your feelings and stuff. And that shame and repression creates this like homoerotic dynamic. You know what I mean? My
brother's best friend, like, they would play video games together, and I used to hear them playing. This was like when I was in high school. Would be like, "Hey, Will, how did your like test?" He was like, "No, we're not talking about that. That's gay."
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Exactly. Any kind of anything, girl. Also like between us when we first met, we had an intensity of like a friendship and a connection.
Oh yeah.
That like we did not understand.
We had no idea.
And so it was almost like shameful and weird. Like we didn't know how to approach it.
We were like, I think I love you.
I think like,
but I don't
do
know.
I have feelings for you?
It was a very awkward,
very weird. And then we were like, ow. Trisha made us,
ow.
Okay. It was like, oh, women, bestie. Oh, okay. Oh, two cliffs. Mama,
yes.
Mama, two cliffs.
Two clits.
Soon. So I guess that's that on homoeroticism.
So yeah, now that we've moved on to that, I want to know what poetry of the Bible, what sapphic poetry from the Bible you have for us today.
I would like to read not something sapphic, but I would like to read what I think is the most important verse in the entire Bible today.
So do reveal to me, what is the greatest verse in the Bible?
In my humble opinion, the greatest verse in the Bible is Psalm 116:11. In my alarm, I said, "Every man is a liar." Because they fucking are, bitch. And I think every woman can relate. In your alarm, also in your clairvoyancy, in your moment of truth.
Girls when they knew it all along.
Girls when they knew it all along.
That is a lie.
Girls when they sink to the bottom and from there they look up and see it all. Every man is a liar. Remember that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Because every man is a liar.
Every man is a liar.
And not even just like, ladies, men are dogs. Cut his dick off. Cut his dick. Men are so emotionally repressed.
Exactly.
They're so emotionally repressed that they fundamentally do not only not understand you, they don't understand themselves. And so when they are confronted by either you trying to say, hey, this is me, I'm trying to be emotionally honest with you, and I'm trusting you to be emotionally honest and reciprocate that back so that we can, as a couple, as adults, as friends, whatever, grow in this moment together. All they see is like, what do I need out of this situation that gets me the desired result?
Yes.
And to them, that's like, here's what I think you want. Girl,
and no, when women
shut up.
When women do it,
die.
It's a performance.
When
men do it, it's a lie.
Period. Say it again for the people in the back. When women do it, it's a performance.
But when men do it, it's a dirty, stupid, fucking, filthy lie.
Because they are stupid dirty, fucking, filthy liars.
In her alarm.
Me all last summer, bitch.
So I think it's suffice to say this has been a pretty gay episode.
This has been an incredibly gay episode, but it's okay because all the time God is gay.
And God is gay all the time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Thank you all so much for listening to today's service. And as always, thank you to our music minister, Brother Sam, for creating that beautiful piece of music that is our intro and outro.
And if you are a visitor with us today, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button and rating us 5 stars wherever you're listening, and if you love the show next week when you come back, why don't you bring a friend?
And remember, God is gay all the time.
And all the time, God is gay.